210-5900.
Looking for the perfect space to grow your business? The Union Broadcasting Building in Corporate Lakes has just what you need. With 3,000 square feet on the first floor, this space is ready to inspire your team. Picture your business thriving in a beautiful spot off 121st and Metcalf. Great corner suite with private office, conference room, break area, and open space. Now, opportunities like this don't last long, so call 913-344-1563 for details and to schedule a tour. That's 913-344-1563 at
1 minute.
Movies are meant to be seen on the big screen. B&B Theaters, headquartered right here in Kansas City, is your family-owned and operated theater. B&B Theaters has great entertainment with films like Novocaine, Black Bag, Snow White, The Woman in the Yard. Also, great faith-based movies like The Last Supper, The Chosen Season 4, and The King of Kings. Ticket show times and the chance to sign up for the free Backstage Pass loyalty program all online at bbtheaters.com.
Major League Baseball's opening weekend on ESPN Radio. The defending NL Central champion Milwaukee Brewers begin the season in the Bronx against Aaron Judge and the defending American League champion New York Yankees.
I'm looking forward to being back here. It's time to roll.
Look out, Aaron Judge.
It's opening weekend. The Brewers at the Yankees.
Kansas City's home for Major League Baseball. Sports Radio 810 WHB. KCFX HD4 Harrisonville, K279PI Kansas City, 103.7 FM. Sports Radio 810 WHB, Kansas City.
America's largest all-sports radio station presents the number one motorsports show for over 2 decades, Track Talk, brought to you by Rod End Supply and the Power Ride Midwest Lightning Sprints. Here are the racing boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the Power Ride Midwest Lightning Sprints. We got a great show for you today. Bill Baylog, Jim Chisholm, who won last night down at Lucas Oil Speedway, didn't he, Kurt?
He did, after a 15th place finish on Thursday night, after starting 19th on Thursday. Much better night for Jim Chisholm as he started on the front row and held off a charge last night. That wasn't easy. He led every lap in the race last night, but he had to hold off.
He started on the pole.
He did. But Reese Solander found some running room around the outside last night. That racetrack, by the way, was in great shape at Lucas Oil Speedway last night. Reese Solander found the high side, and Chisholm drifted up right in front of him before Solander was able to move around the outside. Good move by Chisholm to change his line from the bottom to the top, and just enough to stay in front of Solander, and he was able to win the second night of the King of America, with Solander finishing second. Cade Dillard, who won on Thursday night, came from 10th to 3rd, followed by Stormy Scott and Kyle Strickler, who probably made the biggest charge of the night, 22nd to 5th for the high side tickler Kyle Strickler. So we're set up for the final night of the King of America, and the big show is tonight. $10,000 on the line, and we'll see if Jim Chisholm, the reigning USMTS champion, can win his first King of America, or whether somebody like Rodney Sanders, a 2-time winner of the King of America, can find his way to victory lane, or Cade Dillard is another guy that I think you need to keep your eye on, along with Kyle Strickler. So those are the heavy hitters tonight that I think can win at Lucas Oil Speedway.
You can't count out Rodney Sanders, though, right? I mean,
you never can count out Rodney Sanders.
Starting ninth, so I mean, I'll throw him in there as well.
So anyway, that if you're not able to make it down to Lucas Oil Speedway, you can watch that coverage on RacingDirt.com. Pretty good action. They've done a great job with the racetrack at Lucas Oil Speedway this week, so I expect a pretty good show down there tonight.
Maybe Deidre and I will go down there tonight.
That'd be a good place to go. Or you could drive down to Wichita to see the World of Outlaws at 81 Speedway. That's another option.
Right.
So last night at Lawton Speedway, Buddy Kofoid held off Carson Macedo for the victory. Buddy's second feature victory in the World of Outlaws. I thought maybe it was going to be David Gravel's night again. He qualified number one again. Gravel did, but he didn't win his heat race. And it looked like maybe Brian Brown was going to finish ahead of him out of the, getting into the dash. But Gravel was able to get back by Brownie and finish second in the heat, which put him in the dash, but he didn't have a good pill draw as he came up fifth on the pill draw. So that didn't put him in a good spot in the dash to get a good starting spot for the A mains. But Gravel still did finish in the top five. And now he's, 20 straight top five finishes for David Gravel? Even though he didn't win last night, he still keeps posting top five finishes, and he did it again last night. I thought maybe Emerson Axum had the fastest race car last night. What do you think, Scott? He was sixth, and he got past David Gravel. He passed David Gravel for third. So that was his best run of the year. Emerson Axum, who kind of struggled a little bit at the start of the season, had a great run last night down at Lawton Speedway.
Hey, to be honest with you, David Gravel's got a 78-point lead over
It's early.
Carson Macedo.
It's still early.
It's still early.
I think so.
Right.
Yeah, I hate talking about points this time of the season. You can't, if you're a competitor, you can't forget about it. Every night counts, but a lot of things can transpire, shall we say, throughout the course of a World of Outlaws season. So, but right now, David Gravel's still sitting in pretty good, as long as he continues to post top five finishes, which he has every night this season, and, half a dozen nights of last year, it's going to be hard to beat him, no matter how early it is in the season. But I thought maybe Carson Macedo might have had a shot at getting around Buddy last night, but track, a little bit on the narrow side, Scott. There wasn't, there wasn't a lot of room to pass on the outside. Didn't rubber or anything like that. It was just kind of narrow for a good course of the night. But once Buddy got out in front, he started on the pole, and he jumped out early. It was going to be hard to beat him. He did a good job of maneuvering through the traffic last night, which was critical because there was some challenges getting through traffic last night down at Lawton Speedway.
Kirk, there's a development going on out at I-70 Speedway. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, we talked about that a week ago. There's, some other news that came out since we last talked about it was POWRi has dropped their races that they had scheduled at the I-70 Motorsports Park. That news did come out after we were on the air on Monday, and we kind of saw that coming. So they were the one entity that had dates scheduled at I-70 Motorsports Park, but now that is no more, as POWRi put out a release this week that those dates have been canceled at I-70 Motorsports Park, which, following the news of Casey Schumann leaving.
That doesn't spread good light on I-70 Speedway, does it?
It's not good news for the future of I-70 Speedway, and we've discussed this and what the future might lead. But with Casey Schumann now the assistant GM at Lucas Oil Speedway, he's found a new job, and the dates that POWRi had at I-70 Motorsports now taken away. The website is down. There's not a I-70 Motorsports website any longer. I think the writing is on the wall, shall we say. We haven't heard any confirmation that there's been a transaction of the land over to Scott Higgs, who is the current owner of Flying H Drag Strip. He bought the 150 acres to build the drag strip on, but he didn't own the entire property. Chris Payne and a partnership owned that piece of property, and we're thinking that the days of oval track racing at the I-70 Motorsports Park may be over. We haven't got confirmation on what is going to happen next, but right now there is a big question whether we'll ever see another race at the I-70 Motorsports Park dirt track. What do you think?
I'm not very confident that they're going to have another race out there.
There's going to be plenty of drag racing out there, though.
Right.
Flying H Drag Strip, alive and well. They've got a full schedule of activity that'll be going on there, and the future looks very bright. If you're a drag racing fan in Kansas City, the future looks very bright about what the future might hold for Flying H Drag Strip and big events that'll be coming to Odessa, Missouri in that regard. But the dirt track racing, I don't know. It's not the future doesn't look bright for the future of I-70 Motorsports Park dirt track. So until we find out more of what's going to go on from there, the plans that Casey Schumann had of shortening the racetrack, that didn't happen. They didn't shorten the racetrack. I think they started to work on it, but they didn't.
And that explains why Casey Schumann went to Lucas Oil Speedway.
Yeah. Casey Schumann is got another job now. So, and good for him. That's a good position down there. Ernie Lepwich had that position down at Lucas Oil Speedway, but he left to take over the director's position for the Comp Cam Super Series Late Model Series. So Ernie Lepwich is now down at, running the Comp Cam's Late Model Series now. So that position opened up, and Casey Schumann was able to fill that role, and good for him. Life goes on, as they say. But as far as dirt racing at I-70 Motorsports Park, not so sure about that. So anyway, till we find out more information, we're going to try to get either Blake Housley or Scott Higgs on the air here in the next couple of weeks and try to find out what their plans are.
I click on the website, and the website says this website will be available soon.
The domain will be available.
Yeah,
soon.
it's not been up for almost.
It's been down
a couple
for
weeks.
some weeks.
That's said that now for the last couple of weeks.
Did you see Stephen St. John was out there?
Yeah, that was at the end of the year last year.
Yeah, he was at the high limit race out there in late September or when was that? Early October last year. One of the last big nights. They had one other night of racing out there, the MLR8 late models. The MLR8 no longer exists. That MLRA event was the last event they had out there last fall. About a week after the high limit race. I think it was 2 days after the high limit race. I think they had that out there. So, but that was a big night. The high limit series, if you remember that midweek show out there, had a big crowd out there. And that, as it turns out, that the last major event at I-70 Motorsports Park. So, anyway, it's we're disappointed that things have not transpired as we'd hoped for dirt track racing out there, but that's the way it is. Yesterday, Scott, I attended the visitation for Connie Schrout. Some sad news. Dennis Schrout, the owner of Valley Speedway, his wife Connie passed away.
You always go to funerals, Kirk.
Earlier this week, and our thoughts and prayers go out to Dennis Schrout and his family. Connie was just a terrific person. She was a close, not only wife of Dennis Schrout, but business partner as well. She was a key cog in everything that went on out there at Valley Speedway, and our thoughts and prayers go out to the Schrout family at this sad time. So pretty good turnout for Connie's visitation and services yesterday out in Blue Springs. So just want to send my thoughts and prayers out to the Schrout family at this sad time.
And I'm sorry I didn't get to make it out there yesterday because
you had some obligations.
I
you
had
to
some
take care of.
obligations
Yeah.
going on.
Aaron Reitzel did it again last night, Scott. He won his second high-limit race.
Over Tyler Courtney.
Yeah, made a pass on Sunshine with
4 laps
a handful
to go.
of 4 laps to go. It looked like Sunshine, he went down to the bottom of the racetrack coming out of number 4. It looked like he spun his wheels a little bit. Do you think? That allowed Reitzel to just power by on the outside and move on to victory. You surprised to see that? Because they kind of diced each other back and forth. At one point, Reitzel had the lead. Then on a restart, Courtney had taken it back, and it looked like he was going to be able to hang on to it. But he went low and spun his wheels a little bit, and that allowed Reitzel to make his move on the outside, and off he went at Victory Lane at Casa Grande, Arizona's Central Arizona Speedway. That's now 2 wins for Aaron Reitzel, Scott.
It is.
Because a week ago, a couple of weeks ago, he got hit in the face with a mud clod or something, a rock or a mud clod, or broke his nose and had to go to the hospital. And now he's got out of that, and since then he's got 2 feature victories.
That photo last time, he still had a cut on the bridge of his nose, so looks like he's healed up a little bit better. His nose is still a little red, obviously, but
that'd make that broken nose feel a lot better now that you've won 2 races, doesn't it?
I was going to say, you stop feeling the pain a little bit after you be the guy standing in the middle 2 weeks in a row, right?
Yeah. So they're going to be at Central Arizona Speedway again tonight. It's a 2-night show down there. So, we take a look at the point standings of the High Limit Series, and it's early. We understand that, but Brad Sweet is on top. No surprise there. And he had a pretty decent finish last night as well. He finished 4th after starting 6th. So Brad Sweet leading the way, going for his 7th straight National Tour Championship. He won 5 in a row in the World of Outlaws. Now he's going for his 2nd in a row in the High Limit Series with new crew chief Ty Wolfgang. Doesn't seem to have bothered the Casey Kane racing team all that much with Eric Pretzer leaving the team, has it? Brad Sweet just keeps on marching on.
Sam says doing away with the dirt track would allow a better staging for the drag strip.
That's what it's, yeah. He's right about that.
Right.
They need, if you're Scott Higgs and Blake Housley and all the folks at Flying H drag strip, you're looking at that dirt track out there and thinking, that's kind of in the way, isn't it?
It is.
We need the room where that dirt track is.
So, Kirk, have they promised a national event out there at the?
Eventually, yes, but the facility is not ready for a national event yet. They've still got a lot of work to do to get the property to work and stage NHRA national event.
Marvin checks in from Miamisburg, Ohio.
Welcome to everybody tuned in here this morning. Appreciate y'all having us here. I was looking at the results of that high limit race out in Arizona last night. Tanner Holmes, a very impressive 5th place finish last night. Now, he started 5th and ends up 5th, but good run for him. Justin Peck in the Rudine number 26 car ends up in 3rd behind Reitzel and Courtney. And then it was Brad Sweet and then Tanner Holmes. Spencer Baston trying to get things moving with the Jason Myers team. Started 10th and ends up in 6th place. Dazen Persley, who's had a pretty rocky road here of late, had a pretty good night last night. The rookie started 7th, ends up 7th. in the Buick Motorsports number 13. Brent Marks, Brennan Crouch, and Rico ends up in 10th. Yeah, it's going to bring up Rico a little bit. You think he's still kind of suffering a little bit from that broken
I think
wrist
so.
a little bit? That's kind of still hampering him just a little bit because he's off to a little bit of a slow start, and I think we'd have to attribute that to that injury that he had out in Australia. He started 4th and ends up 10th.
What do you think about that, Kurt?
Well, I just think that he's probably not 100% yet.
Right.
That's what I'm thinking. So I think we would expect more out of Rico under ordinary circumstances at the beginning of the season, but he's struggling a little bit. Getting back to the World of Outlaws show last night, Blake Hahn he got upside down in the heat race, but they was able to come back. I assume, I'm not sure, maybe Tommy can fill us in on this, if they brought out a second car, or I assume that they did, because that was a pretty wicked crash in that heat race, but got out and was able to run the B, and he won the B to get qualified for the A. So happy to see that Blake was able. That was kind of a wicked crash he took up there, got up over a wheel of another car.
I didn't see it.
Got upside down. So glad to see that Blake was able to get things back in gear and get in the B main, the last chance showdown they called it. Started outside the front row and ended up winning that race, and then got himself qualified for the A main. You know, if you're trying to get around Lawton Speedway last night, it was a little bit hard to pass. Now some guys
laid down a little rubber, didn't it, Kurt?
I don't believe it took on rubber. It just
they were
just
saying
kind of a
it
narrow
did.
groove. Maybe it took on a little bit. I don't know. But it was a little bit hard to pass last night. But anyway, I was glad to see Blake was able to get things back repaired, get qualified for the A through the last chance showdown last night. So we're looking down through the final results of the World of Outlaws race last night at Lawton. We already gave you the top 4. Buddy Kofoid, Carson Macedo, Emerson Axum, David Gravel, Sheldon Hodenshield ends up 5th. 6th to Logan Schuart. Bill Baylog, who started on the pole of the dash and started outside front row of the A main. We're going to hear from Bill Baylog here in just a little bit. He ends up in 7th ahead of Gio Selzy, Chris Wyndham, and Donnie Schatz, who ends up in 10th place last night. So
we're going to take a break.
Top 10.
Track Talk is brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. When we come back, Bill Baylog is going to join us next here on Track Talk.
Track Talk.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
2:30. And get ready for a wild ride for Ford Truck Month. And who better to bring you all the excitement than my favorite Ford dealer in Kansas City, Rob Sight of Rob Sight Ford in South Kansas City. Hey, Rob, what's going on?
Hey, Kevin, there are a lot of F-150s out there, but you're not going to find a better deal than Rob Sight Ford's $15,500 off brand new F-150s. That's right, $15,500 off. These savings only happen during Truck Month at Rob Sight Ford, so now is not the time to wait.
Rob Sight Ford is on fire.
Best price and best inventory at Rob Sight Ford. So many F-150s in stock. Don't wait because they won't last long. Biggest savings, best trade-in offers, all part of the Kevin Harlan VIP experience at Rob Sight Ford.
And I appreciate that. Like I've said before, Bobby, nothing compares to the quality and the professionalism at Rob Sight Ford.
Rob Sight Ford, 135th and State Line, ROBSIGHT.com.
Icon is seeking healthy non-smoking men and women ages 18 to 55 to participate in a clinical research study at our facility in Lenexa, Kansas. Women must be of non-childbearing potential. Volunteers must be available for 1 stay of 8 nights and 4 outpatient visits. Qualified participants may receive compensation up to $8,500 for time of travel. Call Icon today at 913-210-5900. That's 913-210-5900.
1 minute. Into a serene oasis with a pro-built pool and patio sunroom. Their expertly crafted sunrooms offer breathtaking views, natural light, and year-round comfort. Whether you're relaxing, entertaining, or simply enjoying the beauty of nature, their sunrooms are the perfect addition to your home. Visit them at 4708 Northwest Gateway Avenue in Riverside to see their stunning selection. Pro-built pool and patio, where your dream living space comes to life.
Tax refund season means ride season, and now's the time to make it happen at Reno's Power Sports KC. Hit the trail with a new ATV or UTV, cruise the streets on a motorcycle or scooter, or make waves with a Sea-Doo, Wave Runner, or a brand new pontoon. Your refund goes further here with Top Brands expert service and financing options to fit any budget. Don't wait. Now is the time, and this is the place. Reno's Power Sports KC, where adventure begins. Visit us today or online at renoskc.com.
Track Talk, brought to you by Rod End Supply and the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. I'm Kirk Elliott along with Scott Traylor. Earlier this week on Mostly Motorsports, we spoke with World of Outlaw driver Bill Balog. They call him the North Pole Nightmare. And here is part one of that conversation with World of Outlaws driver Bill Balog. You've had a pretty good run of it so far. Won that race at Talladega Short Track. That was huge. But how would you assess your season so far? You've been really competitive out there from the way we see it.
Yeah, I think been really good. Worked pretty hard during the winter here to get things ready, and a little bit inconsistent now. I've kind of working on some stuff with the car, and I feel like we got to gather a little more data, and we did that this weekend. So, we definitely have some good highlights and some good moments, and we probably could have been a little bit better here the other night, but just keep plugging away at it, and we got a long ways to go, so we're gonna just try to keep your head up and keep racing.
You've had a lot of really good runs along the way, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been good. We started off good in Florida. It's a tough place. I know everyone's been going there for a million years, and it's a tough place, and we kind of caught on to it there a little bit. I feel like, definitely was, we're pretty strong there, and was in an accident and kind of wiped out, most of a race car, I guess. We kept the cheapest part, which is the chassis. So, but no, it's been working good, and just taking it one night at a time and trying to stay in front of it all.
Well, one of our main listeners, Marie Beasley, she said that your rig broke down.
Yeah, it's been just a mess. Oh, it's been a mess. So we're kind of stranded. I'm at the airport, but Dennis is kind of stranded now. I took off early this morning. Got some mechanics working on it. We've got a friend of ours, William Davis, that's going to grab the parts and try to get them up there from Houston. So, it's just got a lot of people, help and try to help and stuff. So I appreciate that. But it's always something. We have this really nice truck from supplied by our friends, the Trongo family, and unfortunately, sometimes stuff just happens and they break down. So we're gonna get it fixed, and if we can't get it fixed, I'm pretty confident Dennis would, he would put the car on his back and get it to the next track somehow. So we'll figure it out.
And you're going to be at Lawton on Friday night, Saturday night, 81 Speedway. That crash back in Volusia, you had to go to the hospital there. But how difficult was that? Are you still feeling the after effects of that?
Pretty good, actually. Yeah. No, it takes a little longer to heal the older you get, obviously. So, pretty normal, I think. But yeah, feel great. Doesn't affect any of the racing part, which is pretty much all I'm concerned about. But no, yeah, just sometimes when you're down on your hands and knees working and stuff, my ankle gets kind of sore. But other than that, it should be good to go. I just probably can't have that happen again.
You needed every bit of that time off between the speed weeks and when you went back there for bike week, didn't you?
Yeah, we definitely happened on the right night of that 4-day in a row race. So for sure, yeah, I had a couple of friends with me, and they actually drove me in my camper. They drove me home, so that was nice because I wouldn't have been able to do that. And then, yeah, just definitely needed those couple of weeks off for sure. And we had to obviously fix the race car and do all that stuff. So sometimes you get lucky like that. I mean, it wasn't probably the best way to do it, but we definitely got lucky. It was that night, and it was, we had that time to fix all the broken stuff too.
Hey, Bill, you started 21st the night that David Gravel won.
Saturday night, right?
You ended up 12th. Talk about that. That was a good run for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, we've had kind of the same situation 2 weeks in a row with the slick track on the first night, a heavy track on the second night, and we're really bad on the heavy track for some reason. So the first night we were really good, running at the top 5 with 2 to go, blew a tire, and that's just, I don't know why or what, I know I didn't burn the tire off, so it just it did lay rubber, and we were hurting tires, but yeah, that one really stung. And then the next night, we were kind of in the back there, had to go through the B, and just had some good moments during the race and some bad ones. We were really just bad. On the opening warm-up lap, I had ruptured a brake line, and at that track you need brakes. So it was a real struggle to stay with it there with no brakes, or I kind of had partial brakes if I didn't push on them too hard, but yeah, able to just get 12th and salvage that. That was actually a really good relief, and I feel like if we would have had brakes, we would have been, probably had a top 10. But cool place, and we were good there last time, and I feel like that's kind of our style track, and we should have had a lot better weekend points wise, but that's sometimes just what happens.
Hey, when a track rubbers up, that's never good, is it?
No, yeah, it just makes for bad racing. And before the rubber, it's actually really good racing, but it seems to be most of the time, I guess. But yeah, it kind of just laid rubber in one corner, and then the other corners were, it was kind of a free for all. So it was like I said, cool place. Texas has been real windy and not a lot of humidity, so it's been kind of making the track dry. And then the second night of these last 2 weeks, we've had a pretty heavy racetrack, and then then you got to deal with it as it comes at you. So yeah.
Have you ever run at 81 Speedway before?
Yeah, I think so. I was trying to think here which one that is.
In Wichita.
In Wichita.
Yeah, we did race there last year. Yeah, and I don't remember it. I was going to look it up, and I just haven't had time. We've just been in a full-blown thrash to get this truck thing straightened out, and I was getting some of the bent parts. I was in a crash on Saturday in the heat race, so we were fixing stuff yesterday, but from what I remember, it's similar to Cotton Bowl, and can't remember how we did or anything, but yeah, I think I was there once.
It's a pretty racy 3/8 mile racetrack, so they got wall around the outside of it.
They just put that wall up, didn't they?
A few years ago they did.
Yep.
It kind of changed the complexion of the racetrack a little bit, the wall up around the outside. What do you know about Lawton Speedway? You'll be there on Friday night.
Yeah, I've never been there. I think there was a fire there last year.
That's right. Yep.
I think the booth, I think it burned or something, and then they canceled it. So I've never been there, but yeah, it's another one, I think, basically 3/8, isn't it?
It might be just a little bit. Is it bigger than 81? What do you think? Lawton Speedway, you've been to both those tracks, Scott.
Lawton is closer to a half mile.
Yeah, it's a little bit bigger than 81, isn't it?
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, anyway, but that tire that went down the other night, boy, you were going to finish in the top 5 of that race, were you not?
Yeah. I mean, it sure looked that way. Yeah, I had a good battle with some really good cars earlier in that race, and then once it kind of locked down rubber in 3 and 4, you can kind of just stay down there in it, I thought maybe a couple points throughout the race, maybe that tire was feeling a little bit low, but then it would just, another corner it was fine, and then when it really went, it didn't even last a half a lap. It didn't, probably one corner once I felt it really low, and then it just exploded and blew the wing off of it. So it really was disappointing, but yeah, definitely could have been top 5. And like I said, we were kind of going in the right direction with a lot of this stuff. So I'm kind of excited to go to a lot of these races, and sometimes when you're down a little and stuff, it's, you're not, but yeah, I'm feeling good about our Triple X and our engine package and stuff. So yeah, we can keep the truck running, we'll be in good shape.
We'll hear more from Bill Balog in Hour 2 exclusively on Racing Boys. Pretty good guy. He's out there chasing the world of outlaws, and, he's already got one win this year. So last night I thought maybe he might have a shot at another one. He was up on the front row of the A-Main last night, but he wasn't able to keep himself up at the front. Buddy Kofoid and Carson Macedo just too fast. So was Emerson Axum and David Gravel, but he did end up with a top 10 finish last night nonetheless. We'll see how he does at 81 tonight.
Hey, Chris Yant says, why couldn't they schedule a dirt track race once a week for the next week? It's really a shame all the fans in Kansas City can't have both events.
Well, the problem with that is you got the dirt track is owned by different people than who own the drag strip. And the people who own the drag strip are all about drag racing. And
all they need to do is to pave that racetrack.
I'm predicting it will get paved over. That's what's going to happen. So the problem with this is the people who own a Flying H drag strip, they're all about drag racing, and that's the focus. That will be the focus moving forward.
Scott says, morning, boys, cleaning the beach in Fort Myers Beach, Florida this AM.
Great place to be.
Right.
That, especially when it got so cold here in Kansas City about 3 or 4 weeks ago. That would have been an excellent place to be. So, yeah, we welcome all our listeners from all over the world here this morning on Racing Boys. Hey, we had one other sprint car race we haven't talked about. Sam Haverty wins the POWRi 410 season opener at the Texas Motor Speedway dirt track last night down in Fort Worth. This was a co-sanctioned event with the Elite Sprint Car Series. They had 27 cars there last night.
Did you notice Sam shaved his head? Did you notice that, Kirk?
Yeah, of course. He always wore a hat whenever I saw him around. So I didn't know if that was something that was recent or that's always been. You know Sam pretty well, but I guess I'd never seen him without a hat on.
Well, he was going bald, to be honest with you.
So he just shaved her off.
He just shaved it off.
Well, it didn't affect his driving last night because he starts on the pole and led the whole way over Noah Gass.
He's a hell of a driver.
Yeah, he's a great driver. Multi-time ASCS champion, and now he's winner in the POWRi 410 Sprint Car League.
He beat
season opener last night.
He beat Noah Gass last night and Carson McCarl.
Carson finished
and Aaron
third.
Jennington. Xavier Doney had a good run as well. He ended up running fifth.
Yeah. Scotty Miller, Joe B. Miller, Cody Gardner, John Carney III, John Carney II, and Reese Moran, your top 10. You know, I was interested in the car count of how many 410 cars would they have at Fort Worth and how many cars would show up at the World of Outlaws event at Lawton Speedway. Well, the answer is they had 27 sprint cars at Fort Worth last night and 30 for the World of Outlaws at Lawton Speedway last night. So I guess that was split up pretty even. I guess you can't complain about that. I was a little bit skeptical of just how many cars would show up at each of these events last night, but when you get almost 30 at each one of them, I guess that's okay. And then, of course, you have your high-limit race out in Arizona last night.
Hey, Kirk, I've been doing a lot of research online, looking at trying to find a schedule for I-70 Speedway, and there's no schedule.
No.
Page not found.
It's down. The website is down. Has been down for a couple of weeks. So that ought to answer your questions there about, because here's the thing, you know, it's one thing Casey Schumann leaves for another job, but it's another thing that nothing would be said about the future beyond that. There's nothing being said at all, which ought to speak volumes about where this is all headed. Because if they wanted to keep people informed about hey, we're going to keep this thing going out here. We've got some future plans for the racetrack, and stay tuned, news coming. None of that has happened. So I think that should answer your questions about where this is all headed.
So Chris Yount says, so it's not I-70 Motorsports Park, it's the Flying H drag strip.
Yeah. Well, that's the people who own the drag strip are different than the people who owned the dirt track. So that's what you got to keep in mind. Scott Higgs is the owner of Flying H drag strip. They're all about drag racing.
Right.
So anyway.
Pave the racetrack. Pave the racetrack. That's what they need to do.
It's not going to happen, Scott. Drop it. That's not where it's headed.
Why you say that, Kirk?
Because it's not. It's
I-70 Speedway was one of the most fierce and most intense racetracks ever.
But that was then, and this is now. So that's where we are. I'm living in the real world right now, and this is where we are. We're not going to see pavement I-70 Speedway back in the old days again at I-70 Speedway.
They should.
That's not going to happen. Well,
they should
you
pave
say it should, but it's not going to happen. So there you go. So anyway, getting back to what I was talking about, the car count at both Lawton and Texas Motor Speedway dirt track were about the same. So I guess, you can't really complain about the turnout of cars at each of those places last night, can you? 27 at one and 30 at the other.
Pretty good car count.
Yeah. So I would expect about the same amount of cars at 81 Speedway tonight.
All right, we're going to take a break from Track Talk. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. When we come back, Jim Chisholm's going to join us next here on Track Talk.
Track Talk. Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
2:30. Come to Relief
10-4.
Resources Dispensary, the only dispensary around here open 24/7, 365 days a year. Holidays, snowstorms, everyone else's closed days, we're always open and here for you with Missouri's best selection of medical and recreational cannabis and new products arriving daily. Plus, grab $25 eighths on select flower and score bundle discounts across the menu. Need it fast? Our 24/7 express pickup windows are here to make your life easy. And check out the biggest selection of concentrates and hash around, plus stunning functional glass by world-renowned artists. Relief Resources Dispensary is the only dispensary with 3 certified masters of marijuana on staff to help you find the perfect experience. Find Relief in Grandview on 71 Highway, exit at 140th Street. You can check out daily specials and discounts and order online at reliefmo.com. Then pick up anytime, 24/7, 365 at Relief Resources Dispensary.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Fred Ramsey.
And I'm Chris Ramsey.
Together, we host the Midwest Outdoors Radio Show, brought to you by Reed Chevrolet in St. Joseph, Missouri.
We'll be talking about everything hunting and fishing in the Kansas City area and throughout the Midwest, along with guest appearances from leaders in the industry.
Together, we have over 60 years of combined experience in the outdoor world, and we'll be sharing it with you every Saturday morning from 6 to 7 a.m. on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Jeff Montgomery here. If you're a man dealing with frequent urination, multiple trips to the bathroom at night, or a weak urine stream, do what I did and call Miva Medical. Their new cutting-edge non-surgical procedure eliminated my symptoms. Board-certified Dr. Brown is very professional, knowledgeable, and helped put all of my worries at ease. As Kansas City's leaders in minimally invasive non-surgical treatments, I trusted Miva Medical and Dr. Brown to help me. If you're experiencing these symptoms, go to miva-medical.com. That's MIVA-medical.com.
30 seconds.
The madness continues on Sports Radio 810 with the Elite Eight. First up at 5 o'clock, we've got a great one. The Big 12's Texas Tech takes on the mighty Florida Gators from the SEC. And then it's the Blue Blood Duke Blue Devils, led by Cooper Flagg, against the hot-shooting Alabama Crimson Tide. Your home for March Madness and the Final Four is Sports Radio 810 WHB.
NCAA tournament coverage is presented by Xfinity, Guaranteed Foods, and Hellsberg Diamonds.
Welcome back to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. I want to give a shout out to Kelly, who has just chimed in from Oregon.
Yeah, we got a lot of great race fans that listen to our show out there in Oregon, a place you used to spend some time out there.
I spent a lot of time out there.
Jim Chisholm is on a roll right now. He won $100,000 for winning the Dominator at the Salina High Banks last Saturday night. The seas kind of parted open for him out there, I thought. Cade Dillard had the lead in that race before he suffered a flat right rear tire, and then there was a couple of guys took each other out, and then Jesse Stovall jumped the restart, and Jim Chisholm was able to start on the outside of the front row alongside Terry Phillips for that final restart, and he powered into the lead and never looked back and walked out of there with a $100,000 victory. And then last night, he wins night 2 of the King of America. He is the reigning USMTS champion, and Monday on Mostly Motorsports, we spoke with Jim Chisholm. Here's part 1 of that conversation.
Talk about where you're going to spend that money at.
Definitely going to go back into our race program here. It's going to help out a ton, and super grateful that we got so many great people around us to be able to make this work.
You beat a lot of good guys like Chad Wheeler, Terry Phillips, Jesse Stovall, Jake O'Neill,
and Cade Dillard. Yeah, how'd you do that? It's like the seas just opened up for you. So many of the guys were having trouble, and it just it was all right there for you, wasn't it?
No, it definitely was a battle of nutrition that whole night, under the circumstance we were given. But, we just kind of got the right breaks at the right time and ended up in the right position to kind of capitalize on it.
How big was the break when Jesse Stovall jumped that restart and you were able to restart on the outside of the front row on that last restart? How big was that for you?
That was probably the deciding factor for us. I don't know if we would have been able to have a good enough restart there on the bottom to make anything really work, but kind of given the prime opportunity was just huge, and hate to see it for him. He run his ass off that night too, but it really gave us our lucky break there.
I mean, you were running, I think, 6th when all that mayhem happened there with about 2 laps to go. Will Krupp and Jacob Prohl, they got into it each other. And what were you thinking watching all that go down?
Yeah, we were running up second behind Cade for most of that race, and I knew he lost a little chunk of his tire there on one of those restarts and hit me in the cockpit, so I knew he wasn't really going to make it. He was just running too hard to make the whole race, so I was just kind of running around in second, and Falloway got by me right before a caution and put me on the bottom on a restart, and we got kind of in the corner and got shuffled back a little bit, so we weren't really in prime position anymore, but, it was just kind of the luck of the race. Those guys, they pushed really, really hard and kind of took each other out of it, but it was good for us because it put us in a position to kind of capitalize.
You won at Lucas Oil Speedway back in August. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I've always struggled with Lucas Oil until they put that new dirt on there last year, and it kind of made it a lot like the racetracks we got around home and really fit what our cars are. It's a little bit slower pace of a racetrack, definitely different than what we were just on, but, it's also there. The place is kind of hard on tires right now, so it's a battle of taking care of your stuff, too, for those races, and it really fits kind of my driving style right now, so we're super excited to come back there this week and give it our best shot.
This is one of the big events on the whole USMTS Tour. The King of America used to be at Humboldt Speedway, but now first time at Lucas Oil Speedway, having swept the weekend last August down there. And, of course, your brother Joe, I think he won the USA Nationals event last year, too, didn't he? The Skyrocket car.
Yes,
so you guys got to be feeling really good going to this racetrack this weekend.
Yes, we're putting back in the same setups we were in there last year, and I know Joe's going to be really tough to beat down there, and he's going to run really, really good. And there's going to be some other guys too, but I really hope we get to the end of the weekend, we're battling between the two of us for some wins.
Just Skyrocket, how did you get together with Kelly and in these Skyrocket cars? Talk about that.
Yeah, we've been with Kelly ever since we moved out of the Slingshots. Our first B-Mod we bought from Mike Sorensen, it was a Skyrocket, and we took it to him, and he's always been nothing but great to us and for us, so we've had no reason to really even look in a different direction, and kind of over the last 4 or 5 years got to become a little part of his program and get to work over there and work alongside of him has been really huge, and he's taught me so much, and hopefully I teach him a little bit too, but he tells me what not to do when I'm trying to think of something stupid, and he gets rid of a lot of that learning curve, and I'm really grateful to be a part of his program.
How much have things changed in these dirt modifieds over the years? How difficult is it to keep up?
They're more like late models, right?
Yeah, I mean, things in this class change ever so often. I mean, we get different rules that they put in place, and we got to refigure out how to get around and get some speed back in these cars. But, it's an ever-changing progress. Everything wants a little bit different out of the race car, and, even the racetracks have kind of evolved a little bit to a little bit different type of racing over the last, few years. And keeping up with times, everyone's always trying. Everyone else is always finding more speed. So we got to be doing that too, and we're trying our best at it.
Part 2 coming up in hour number 2. Bill Baylog is for 9 minutes and 30 seconds, and Jim Chisholm is 13 minutes.
So that's all an hour 2 exclusively on Race Bulls. We'll hear more from both of those
You can
guys.
watch that on Facebook, YouTube, and RacingBoys.com.
That's it. And, of course, Monday we'll be here for Mostly Motorsports at 12 noon. And we don't know who our guests are going to be yet. It all depends on what happens tonight. So we'll have a couple of guests on Monday's show, as we always do on Monday's Mostly Motorsports show. Hey, we got some news from the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum. Got the Corvette giveaway that is going on now. It is a beautiful 2025 Corvette ZR1 with a ZTK performance package. This is a powerful car. It's got over 1,000 horsepower. That is a lot for a street car. And you can win this Corvette. All you have to do is go to winacorvette.org to get registered. The last day to register is the last day of the Knoxville Nationals in August. They'll draw for it a week after that. So you can get registered now. Sign up as often as you'd like. Tickets up there, and some good deals on the tickets as we go along here over the next few months. But winacorvette.org is where to go to get registered for this year's Corvette. The Dennis Albaugh Suite Tower is almost finished. By the time the World of Outlaws open up the season up there in April, they're going to have the grand opening of the Dennis Albaugh Suite Tower. This is just on the opposite end of where the Brian Clausen Suite Tower is, just off Turn 2 at the Knoxville Raceway.
They're not going to have a podium up there on top.
No, not an observation deck will not be on top of the Dennis Albaugh Suite Tower, and there's a reason for that, because
power lines.
Yeah, you got power lines nearby, and so that's the only difference in the look of it from the Brian Clausen Suite Tower is the no observation deck. But it is a beautiful looking building, and boy, it really adds to the look of the Hall of Fame just outside Turn 2. You can visit the Hall of Fame today. It's open 7 days a week. And also while you're there, check out the gift shop. If you want to see all the items that they have in the gift shop, go to sprintcarstuff.com. National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum, open 7 days a week. Check it out today. You don't have to wait to the opening of the season to do it.
The only time they're not open is on the holidays.
Yeah. Big like Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's.
Right.
But we're past all that now, so it is open, and they got a lot of great items that you want to see in the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame.
We're past
Museum.
that, Kirk?
We're past all the major holidays. We don't have to worry about the holiday closings till long after this season is over. So anyway, induction ceremony for the Hall of Fame is May 31st. And, of course, that's the same weekend as the USAC non-wing sprint cars at Knoxville. So you getting excited for, boy, we're just getting a few weeks away from the opening at Knoxville. Of course, got races tonight at 81 Speedway. So that's probably the closest here in Kansas City you can see the World of Outlaws. 81 Speedway tonight.
Should I take the trailer up there before the event?
North Campground up there. We've got the spot. Sure. Get it up there, get it ready to go.
30 seconds.
So anyway, 81 Speedway tonight. That's going to be a great race down at 81. Johnny Allen, crew down there, got that racetrack in really good shape, and I expect to see it. Heck of a show tonight. Who's going to win?
Who do you think is going to win?
Well, it's hard to bet against Gravel, isn't it? But he qualified number one last night, but he didn't win his heat, and he didn't win the A-Main, but he still finished in the top 5. I don't know. I'm thinking Carson Macedo might bust through tonight and pick up a victory. That's
Carson Macedo give Buddy Kofoid a hell of a run last night.
Gave him all he wanted, didn't he?
Right.
But Buddy was able to hang out in front. So.
All right, thanks everybody for tuning in to Mostly Motorsports or Track Talk. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. For Todd Surprise, for Kirk Elliott, I'm Scott Traylor saying thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week right here on Track Talk.
Supply is is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Men, here's the truth.
Thanks for membership.
Good enough isn't really good enough, is it?
All right, good stuff. I'll see you next week.
All right, brother. Have a good week.
You too, man.
I don't know.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Spirit Specialty Sportswear in-house. We do all of the screen printing, all the embroidery. We do some vinyl. The other ad specialty items like your pens, magnets, notepads, calendars. You can actually buy that, build your business to make it larger. We have the largest screen printing process and the largest embroidery anywhere around in the area. We can do stuff all the way from your school clubs to sports teams, a professional look in the office. If you can imagine it, we can do it for you.
From the circle track to the drag strip to off-road racing, Rod End Supply has been keeping their customers at the front of the field since 1989. Whether you need rod ends, tubular rods, or specialty products, Bob Douglas and his Rod End Supply staff are always ready to help you with your needs. You can visit them on the web at rodendsupply.com or call them at 800-284-2902. That's 800-284-2902. Rod End Supply, keeping you at the front of the field.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Sabres 33 RLP. Let's go take a tour. Coming into this animal, we're going to take a trip back here to the feature of this trailer, the deck. Check it out. It's awesome. It's 4 by 10 feet. You can dance on this thing. Boom! Check it out. It's pretty nice. And then coming to the back of this thing, you got a 75-inch TV. It's huge. 60-inch fireplace. It's nice and big, keep you warm. Then you got an ottoman that converts into a table, if you will. Maybe some TV trays. Then this hide-a-bed that I'm pointing at, it comes out and folds into like a king-size bed with storage in the corner for all your linens. Great little addition to the trailer. Your dinette, of course. Then you're gonna come around to the kitchen with the tic-toc sink. It's got the spritzer and the waterfall and all that stuff. Residential style refrigerator. It's got the microwave and the oven that's residential as well. Big old pantry over here with motion detected lights, coffee bar, and then coming up to the bedroom, you'll have the bathroom first, nice and spacious with a seat in it for them ladies. And then we got the king size bedroom with washer dryer hookup. I'm telling you, this is a home run for a couples coach. Come and see me, Kyle Walker.
When Steve died, the outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized, no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive. So having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
So we have a lot of folks come in interested in traveling for work. This is going to be a great option. Your Coachman Northern Spirit 2565 front kitchen. You have a nice wraparound full front kitchen here. Huge windows up top. Big 12-volt refrigerator. Lots of windows on the sides here. Great natural light coming in. You have your big TV over here on the swing arm bracket so you can kind of see it from any point in the room. Also have your bar stools here. Sit and eat your breakfast. In the bedroom, you're going to have a king-size bed in the slide-out. Lots of storage underneath that. Washer, dryer, hookup. Tons of storage with the drawers. Then you got your full bath across the back. When it comes down to a camper that you can get for 6,500 pounds and be under 30 feet long, this is an absolute home run.
Race fans, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is open 7 days a week, year-round, for you to come in and check out all of the wonderful race cars on display in the museum. And our online store at sprintcarstuff.com is open 24 hours a day for you to check out everything that we have in stock for sprint car fans. Whether it's for a birthday, anniversary, or Christmas, sprintcarstuff.com has it all. That's at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.
Hey everybody, this is Larry the Cable Guy. You are listening to RacingBoys.com, and if you're not, I swear to you, get in your truck or do something, but get the hell out of this country, because you don't belong in it if you don't listen to these fellas.
It's time for America's most unique motorsports show, Track Talk, brought to you by Rod End Supply and the Power Ride Midwest Lightning Sprints. Here are the racing boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Welcome back to Track Talk, hour number 2, exclusively on Facebook, YouTube, and RacingBoys.com. Kirk, what do you think about that?
I am happy that we have so many outlets that we can distribute our product on. All those entities you can find us.
Right.
The podcasts that we do on Monday, it's wherever you can find podcasts. It's up there. And the fact that we've got so many options there, I think that's the best thing about it, isn't it?
It is.
You just, whatever your tastes are of how you consume shows on the internet, we'll be there.
Kirk, I've done a lot of research online, and I can't find anything that talks about the dirt track.
At I-70 Motorsports Park.
Right.
I can't either. It's not there. It's not there. It's like I-70 dirt track, it's like it doesn't exist right now, but it does. It's still there. But
what do you think, Todd?
I think that we know our answers.
Yeah, we knew that when we talked to Casey Schumann, said he hadn't spoken to the guy in a year, so we knew at that point.
Chris Payne.
So we just didn't bring that to the audience because we wasn't, there was no major announcement yet. Hey, I was going to say that Mostly Motorsports episode 353, that thing's already got 276 downloads. That's over 200. That's over 200 more than we had on the previous week's show. So I appreciate everybody out there, but that's a really good number. If you want to go listen to that Bill Baylog and Jim Chisholm interview, episode 353, we could get that number bumped up.
You know what that tells me? That Jim Chisholm and Bill Baylog's got a lot of fans.
A lot of fans, and we had never had either one of those guys on the show either. So we're looking at that episode there on the screen right now, and you're seeing a little insight into our numbers, but 276 downloads already from just last Monday, which tells you when we tweeted that thing out, Kirk, it did what it was supposed to do. So it was a really good interview. I cut out quite a bit of it for
Bill Baylog is pretty popular.
Yeah, if you want to hear the entire interview, we're just playing parts of the interviews here on this show. But if you want to hear the entire interviews of all of these guests, go to the Racing Boys podcast section on racingboys.com. And episode 353 is there, the most recent show. So you can listen to it. And every Monday we stream the show live at 12 noon, but we podcast it after that.
Hey, Kirk, are you confident that the dirt track at I-70 Speedway is going to be closed down?
If I were a betting man, yes. If I were a betting man, I would say you've seen the last of dirt track racing at I-70 Motorsports Park.
That is so sad. All I say is they need to pave it.
Well, you keep saying that, but that's just that's not reality. That's not going to happen. It has a better chance of staying a dirt track than it ever has of being paved over.
To be honest with you,
track.
Back in the day when I-70 was a pavement track, they brought in 2,000 or 3,000 people every day.
Well, yeah, but that
every
was then.
week.
That was then. This is now. It's a whole different situation now. You've got a world-class drag strip on that property now that didn't exist back in the 80s and 90s.
They need to pave that racetrack.
Well, you say they need to.
You better find somebody with deep pockets because they'll lose their ass. Because I don't think nobody.
That's not going to happen.
I don't think nobody's going to be able to afford to. They can't afford to weekly race dirt cars. How in the hell are you going to weekly race pavement cars? How are you going to do that? There's nobody has that.
There's a lot of people that still have pavement cars out there.
From back then, those cars are crap and done. Scott, that was 18. You had hair
Almost
when
a
you were racing
generation
out
ago
there,
now.
for Christ's sake. I mean, it's been forever ago. There is nobody going to build a. Is there any young kids out there building a car like that to be raced? It's just not feasible around here. If you want to be a pavement racer, you have to go to North Carolina. Or another state. But it's not going to happen.
Go to Hickory Speedway in North Carolina.
Yeah, the money is outlandishly expensive. And secondly, who's going to spend the money to build to pave over a dirt track?
Plenty of people will.
No, you tell me, find somebody that has the kind of bread to do that. Just find, and that is willing to lose their ass.
I bet Ron Hartford would do it.
But then who's going to pave the track? And who's going to pay for everything that needs to be done? It's just not feasible. Not in 2025. It just ain't feasible. They're closing tracks
Those
every
days
day.
are only in the memories of our minds, Scott Traylor.
Right.
The days gone yore of I-70 Speedway paved track, those will be the memories.
Kelly
that we
said,
have.
"Careful on the haircut comments."
Oh,
Because I told Scott he had hair back when I-70 was running good. That was what that was.
that was
from.
about 2 haircuts ago, Todd.
Kirk, you don't have much hair either.
I don't. I should shave it off.
You
like
should
Sam.
shave it off.
I should be like Sam Haferteef and just get rid of it.
Get
right?
rid of it.
Yeah. You and Scotty Cook, he shaved his head too.
I got a haircut last week.
You did? You got a haircut?
I did.
Wow, that is news.
I got it. And I got my beard. I got my beard trimmed too.
You're just trimming it up a little bit, right?
Got my beard trimmed. Look at that. There's more gray hair in this beard right here than. Look at that.
That's a lot of gray hair.
What's that say to you when you see gray hair there, Todd?
That tells you if
You're getting old.
I'm getting old. And when I started here, I didn't have any gray hair in my face. That's for sure. So the last 12 and a half years.
If I grew a beard, it would be all white.
Oh, that's what
Well,
mine
it sort of is now, isn't it? Your beard it's got some white in it.
Yeah, it's white.
It's all white.
NASCAR this weekend at Martinsville Speedway.
Who you got?
The NASCAR Cup Series will be there tomorrow. They got the Xfinity race today. Now, yesterday, they had the Truck Series at Martinsville Speedway. And it looked like Corey Heim was on his way to victory, but he got taken out. He got spun out, Corey Heim. But in the end, it was Daniel Hemrick coming through with the victory over Tyler Ankrum, Jake Garcia, Chandler Smith, and Ben Rhodes, your top 5. And Corey Day, he was in the race yesterday, but he had some issues. And, we're going to cut Corey Day a little slack. His first time at Martinsville
He finished
Speedway.
32nd.
Yeah. It's this is not like your half mile at Knoxville or anywhere else. Paved half mile at Martinsville Speedway probably takes a little bit of getting used to, and Corey Day was certainly in that mode yesterday. 32nd place finish for Corey Day. He's learning. I think he'll get there. He had a fast racetrack the week before that down at was it at Homestead? He was
pretty good down there.
He's had a couple of, he's had a fast racetrack on a couple of occasions this year. So we'll keep an eye on Corey Day as he learns the pavement side of things here over the next few months. He's still going to race sprint cars. We're still going to see Corey Day in a sprint car on about 30 occasions this year. So it's not all pavement all the time for Corey just yet. But anyway, today the Xfinity race is going on at Martinsville Speedway.
Is he going to run the Xfinity race?
He's going to run some Xfinity races. Not today, but he is going to run some Xfinity races this year. I don't have the schedule in front of me, but he's got 4 or 5 races that he will be running in the Xfinity Series this year. But the Xfinity race today is at 4 o'clock. You can watch that on the CW, and then the Cup cars are going to be out on the track before that. Practice and qualifying at 1 o'clock our time this afternoon. You can watch that on Amazon Prime. And then tomorrow, the Cup race on FS1 gets the green flag at about 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So we'll see who qualifies.
Who's your pick to win?
Well, I'd like to see how the qualifying goes because, track position is everything at
I got Larson
Martinsville
and
Speedway.
I got Larson and
he won last week. Kyle Larson won.
I got Larson and Blaney as my main picks for the Sunday race. So
Larson could have very easily swept the weekend at Homestead had it not been he got a restart there towards the end of that Xfinity race. He got his rear wheels up in the air, got turned sideways. That was that for him. But he certainly had a fast enough race car to win that Xfinity race.
I thought Alex Bowman was going to win that race.
The Cup race.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, he got up into the wall. The thing about Homestead Miami Speedway is if you run up by the wall as well as Kyle Larson does, you can't make any mistakes. Now, Alex Bowman got up into the wall, and that allowed Kyle to scoot on by him.
Kyle Larson, he got into the wall one time.
Yeah, but it didn't hurt him, did it? You can't get into the wall in the last 4 or 5 laps of the race. That's the key. And certainly when you get up into the wall, you can't do any damage to your race car. So, but Larson had the better car at the end. He picks up his first Cup Series win of the year.
You want to lead into Jim Chisholm?
Do we play part 2 of Jim Chisholm, Todd?
Whichever one. We got both part 2s.
Let's go with part 2 of Jim Chisholm. He's a winner last night at Lucas Oil Speedway, night 2 of the King of America, and you got to list him as a pretty big-time favorite. I don't think he's a prohibitive favorite tonight because you got some other guys that'll have a say-so in this. Cade Dillard is one of them. Kyle Strickler is another guy you need to keep an eye on. But Jim Chisholm certainly was impressive in his victory last night. And earlier this week on Mostly Motorsports, we spoke with Jim Chisholm. Here's part 2 of that conversation. Hey, getting back to that race at Salina High Banks, 13 of the 24 finished. How difficult was that getting around that race? That's a pretty speedy racetrack, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really wide open type of racetrack. You know, it's got a ton of banking. You're into it the whole time. And, you know, it's one of those, you never really get a breath, and you're always, you know, sucked against the race side of your race seat. And, you know, but it's also, I mean, the place was super smooth. And at the end of the night, we had a lot of guys move around and had a lot of, I mean, it's a $100,000 win show. Everyone, I'm not going to say they're racing over their heads, but everyone was going after it and trying their hardest. And, you know, everyone's not giving an inch, and it caused for a little bit of mayhem. But that happens at every one of these shows, but you just kind of got to take her easy. You know, we backed off for a long time, you know, just kind of rode around until we had a kind of a chance to go, and we took it.
What was going through your head at the time when you were leading that race? Talk about that a little bit. $100,000 on the line.
Yeah, when we got the lead, I knew we either were going to lose a tire going to the checkered, or we were going to be close enough for some other guys to capitalize on. So, you know, we went flat out the last couple laps to give ourselves a little bit of breathing room, so no one had a chance to, you know, make a really big move. And, you know, it's always at the back of your mind. You never know what someone else can do, you know, when they're in second. You don't really know who's in second. So try to get away, run away like a little mouse, and don't let the cat get you.
So you think a lot of what was going on, the incidents that were happening and guys getting in each other, was the fact that they had too much of that $100,000 payday on their mind, that they weren't, you know, it's not a normal race when you're running for that kind of money. Do you think that you got to be thinking about this going in, because you've won some big races before? You got to treat it like it's just a normal race, do you not?
Yeah, 100%. You know, I had myself convinced this was a $10,000 win show. You know, I just took off one of the zeros and, you know, made it realize, like, you know, this is just another race. You know, you can't treat it like, I mean, you got to treat it like a big race, but at the same time, you can't let that fog your mind's focus of, you know, it's still a race. You still got to make it to the end. You still got to have a car at the end, so you can't take yourself out or put yourself in a position where you can be taken out.
We're showing your merch trailer right now. You got a lot of merchandise.
Yes, yeah, we got that out this weekend, and Kylie, she did a phenomenal job, and she set that thing all up the last few weeks, and it's running smoothly. And anyone at any of these races coming up, we'll have it there, and come down and buy stuff, or they can go on our website at balancespeed.com and purchase it there too.
What do you think about Lucas Oil Speedway? We talked a bit about the actual racetrack a little bit, but boy, you can't find a nicer facility than Lucas Oil Speedway anywhere in the country, can you?
No, Lucas Oil Speedway is, you know, second to none when it comes to facilities. They got everything and anything there from, you know, they got a whole bunch of amenities. They got a bar there underneath the grandstand and a little go-kart track. I think they do some events during the day, and their campground's phenomenal. Their pits are best. I mean, and with that new dirt on the racetrack, it's starting to become one of the better racetracks too.
Yeah, I agree with you. We've seen a lot of different kinds of racing down there last year, sprint cars and late models and so forth, and that, you know, track had typically rubbered up in the past, but we're not seeing that right now. That new dirt has really worked wonders, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. It's brought the racing to life. I mean, I think those both races were down there last year. I mean, there was a lot of jockeying for position, and I know Jake Tim the one night, I think he came from like 20th into the top three, so there's ways for guys to fly up through the field there. There's a whole bunch of different lines. I know when we were running around there in the heat races, even there's 2-3 lines that a guy could run, 2-3 wide racing the whole night. So when a racetrack can put on races like that, it gives the fans a ton of a show, and it makes the drivers really happy because you can race around people, not touch them, and get by them without, you know, really having to do anything out of the ordinary. And it just makes for a good time and a good racing.
Talk about running with the USMTS races.
Yeah, you won that championship last year. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, the USMTS is something I always grew up watching races and being like, you never know if you're going to be a part of it, but always wanted to be a part of it. And still kind of unbelievable that we won that last year, but it's got a really great group of people that run it, and there's a lot of guys that come out of it and go to the late models, so we're trying our best to do that too. But Todd, he does a good job running it, keeps everything really fair, and at the moment it's the best thing around, so we're going to keep running as long as we can.
You've already picked up a win this year. You won the season opener down at Waco. But last year you won 8 races. We already talked about a couple of them at Lucas Oil Speedway. What were some of the other highlights in 2024?
For me, there's the 2 biggest races in USMTS3. It's the King of America. We're coming into this next week, and it's Fall Jamboree. I love the Fall Jamboree. The atmosphere around that race is just fantastic. And
at
that
Deer
was
Creek, right? Deer Creek?
Yep, at Deer Creek Speedway. That was probably my biggest win at the USMTS last year, was winning that. And we're going to try again this year to win each and every race we enter. But that doesn't always happen, but you can't get brought down because of that. So go to the next one, try to win the next one.
What's your thoughts about taking it from Humboldt to Lucas Oil Speedway? You got to think your chances are pretty good.
Yeah, we've always struggled with Humboldt a little bit. Almost won one of the prelim nights down there, but Humboldt's another really good racetrack, and they had some races last weekend that seemed like they went really good. Executive decision to go to Lucas Oil, I think, was going to be a good one because they got the facility and the amenities for all the fans and everyone around, and I really hope it works out for them.
Yeah, it's just that Mother Nature just got to cooperate this time of the year. That's the big question, isn't it? Just got to get the weather.
This time of year, you never know who the Mother Nature normally wins out, but we hope not. So we get a chance to do it.
Osage, Iowa. Just to talk about your background, how did you get started racing? Just your background.
We started racing. I was never really a big part of racing until my Uncle Mark. He bought me my first slingshot when I was 6, and it was kind of a deal with my parents that we were going to race a couple times a summer, and that was all it was going to be. And we went to that first race, and we went to the next one, and just to never miss one after that. And the whole family got super involved, and we were on this like that, and we got a lot of really good sponsors around us that have helped us out a ton from each and everything they can do. And without them, I wouldn't be doing this. And got hooked up with the right people. Cole Quinlan, he helped mentor me when I was moving up into the B-Mod rankings. He was the best around, and I was just always put in a position to learn from the best people, and that's helped me out a ton.
Yeah, I mean, the money part of the expenses, what it takes to do this, the travel and all of that, can you give us a little bit of an idea of how much money it takes to travel the full USMTS season?
It takes a lot, but a lot of these guys, and including ourselves, we get a lot of help from, the people around us. And I don't think there's many guys that run the tour that couldn't do it without each and every one of their sponsors. So if you see a name on one of these race cars and you get a chance to support the guys that help support us, it means a lot to us racers. It means a lot to them. As long as we can keep getting those names put on these race cars, we're going to keep trying to run it.
So how are you going to attack this weekend? Of course, they got the preliminary nights. I'm not exactly sure how the format works this weekend. They're racing Thursday, Friday. How do you attack this event this weekend?
You got to attack this event. It's a long weekend, so you can't take yourself out early in one of the early nights and not have a card to go back on the racetrack for Saturday for the big race. But, you're going to run hard. You're going to run with the people all weekend. So you're going to go there and do your best to put on a show for the fans and do your best to run as hard as you can.
As you look forward, you're going to try to win another championship this year. Just what did you learn last year by winning that first championship that can help you go for another one here in 2025?
A lot of it's mindset. You can't go in there worrying about points each and every weekend. You're going to go through and run each race like it's a single race. Go out there and run the best you can, and you got to let things just kind of work out how they work out. Worrying about stuff just slows you down. So go out and just run your best.
So don't try to think about points. Just go out there and try to win as many races as you can, and let the points take care of
win as many
themselves.
races you can, finish the best you can each and every time you hit the racetrack.
Yeah, because if you really stew over the end game, you're not going to keep focused on what's right in front of you, is it? I always wondered about that. People running for points, and they get so worked up about it and lose sleep over it, and they lose focus of really what it takes to do the job on that day, right?
Racing for points really sucks, doesn't it?
Yeah, and as long as you keep the mindset, it's just another day. I think you never get really drained out from the racing. A guy gets too worried about that, starts losing sleep over where he's at. It can be really a detriment to his long-term success. So got to take the short-term victories when you can and keep on looking at the big picture a little bit, but at the same time, the most important thing's what's right there in front of you. So you got to live in the moment a little bit and go try your best each and every time.
I know some racing brothers that have been very competitive. We knew the Kosiski brothers pretty well in late model racing. They were very competitive out there. How competitive are you out there when you're racing your brother Joe?
Joe, he's pushes me to be better, and I hope I push him to be better too. But he's got a lot of talent. He's really good. So we're going to go out there and we race each other hard, but we're going to race each other clean and make it on to the next race also.
All right, Jim, we can't thank you enough for taking the time to join us here on Mostly Motorsports. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. We can't thank you enough for taking the time to join us on the show.
Yeah, congratulations on that big win on Saturday. What did you do to celebrate that, by the way? How did you celebrate that big
win? It's a short week. We had to get back to work when we got home here and get ready for this weekend, and got a few customer stuff we got to get done too, so you celebrate a little bit, but celebration short term, you got to get right back to work.
It's just another race, right?
What do you do for a living? What do you do for a living?
So I own a company called Balance Speed. I work in conjunction with Kelly. We build new race cars, and then we also, the biggest thing we do is shock service and do a little bit of consulting and setups, and that's what takes up our time.
What's the biggest thing you've been learning? Kelly Shryock is a 9-time USMTS champion. I mean, there's nobody knows more about the USMTS than Kelly does. He's not been out there on the tour, but what's the biggest thing you've learned from being around Kelly Shryock?
Kelly has kind of taught us the ways of up and down the road, making sure we get our equipment 100% each time we hit the racetrack is huge. And, his knowledge about the race and how to race has kind of helped me out a ton. And, not every time it's always just about the car. It's about how you run a race. And he's helped me out that a lot, and he helps me out figure out what we got to do to the race cars, and he's just been a huge help.
Boy, he's had some pretty strong paydays in this dirt modified, hasn't he? $100,000 last week at Salina. He picked up $5,000 for winning the King of America prelim. You want what tonight's race pays? $20,000 to tonight's King of America winner, Lucas Oil Speedway. And Jim Chisholm's got a pretty good shot at that.
You think Jim Chisholm is the odds-on favorite to win that race?
Well, I thought so coming in, but then you got to take a look at Cade Dillard. We'll probably have something to say about that. Stormy Scott, he had a pretty good run last night. Kyle Strickler came from 22nd to 5th. I think it all depends on what kind of a starting spot you get, because on Thursday night, Cade Dillard started 19th and ended up 15th. They're still going to have a good starting spot in these races to win. But if Jim Chisholm starts up towards the front, and I don't think he has to start on the pole or the outside front row, but if he starts up near the front, I still think that he's a pretty heavy favorite to win. But I don't think he's a prohibitive favorite. I still think Cade Dillard's got a fast race car. He probably could have won that $100,000 race last week at Salina had he not had a tire go down. So does Jim Chisholm have a pretty good shot at that tonight? Yes. But he's also got to, he's got to battle some other pretty tough contenders down there at Lucas Oil.
Stormy Scott's got a pretty good chance to win that race as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I mentioned, Kyle Strickler and
Chad Wheeler.
Reese Solander showed me something last night. He had a pretty fast race car as well. Tanner Mullins. There's a few guys that will make it hard on Jim Chisholm. I don't think he's just going to run away and hide tonight. That's why it's going to be interesting to watch just how it all plays out, because I don't think that you can just pick a guy and say that's the guy. I think there's 4 or 5 different guys that's got a pretty good shot at that thing tonight.
Cade Dillard, Stormy Scott, Kyle Strickler, Chad Wheeler, Bobby Williams, Alex Williamson, Tanner Mullins, Joe Duvall.
Dustin Sorensen is there. He's a former champion of the USMTS. He started 16th, ended
What
up
do you think his chances
11th
are
last
winning?
night. Well, like I say, it all depends on where everybody starts.
He ran 11th last night, Kirk.
Yeah. So anyway, it's going to be interesting to watch. The racetrack has been in great shape at Lucas Oil Speedway. Last night, they had a top side and a bottom to the racetrack. Jim Chisholm was making it work down on the bottom, and here come Reese Solander working the high side, and it looked like Solander was just going to drive right on around Jim Chisholm, but Chisholm was able to drift up in front of Reese Solander before he could make the move to the outside and was able to stay out in front. And
he was
went
blocking
to the top side and powered on to victory.
He was blocking.
Well, at the first he was blocking. But then once he was able to take that same line away that Solander had, he was able to pull away just a little bit.
So that's blocking.
At the first it was, yeah. Well, I don't think so. I think that he came up and took away the line that Solander was running well at.
That's blocking, Kirk.
There's nothing wrong with that. Did you see the race?
I didn't see the race.
If you watch the race, then you would not say that that was blocking. That was just taking Solander's line away. That's all that was.
That's blocking, Kirk.
Well, I don't see it that way. I don't. Blocking is when you're slower. You're obviously. I look at blocking as you're just holding up the guy. What I saw last night was Chisholm able to move up and take that same line away that Solander was running well in, and he ran better up top than he did at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And once he got out in front, he was able to pull away from Solander. So I don't look at that as blocking. You may look at it that way, but I don't see it that way. I think Chisholm had, once he was able to move up to the top side, he was able to maintain what he had before. He ran better on the top side, but he saw a guy coming running better than he was up on the top side, and he just took the guy's line away from him. That's all that was. We see it all the time in dirt track racing.
That's blocking, Kirk.
What's wrong with what he did? What's wrong with what Jim Chisholm did last night? Tell me. What's wrong with that?
I'm just telling you that's blocking.
Okay. However you see it. So who do you think's going to win that race tonight?
I think Stormy Scott's going to win this race.
Wow. That'd be big.
Mm-hmm.
We saw Johnny Scott win a late model race.
Chad
down
Wheeler
at
might
Lucas
have
Oil
a
Speedway
chance
one
at
time.
winning that race as well.
Yeah. Well, Chad Wheeler, he always runs well at Lucas Oil Speedway. So it's going to be interesting to watch. If you can't make it down to Lucas Oil Speedway tonight, be sure to tune in on Racing Dirt. I was looking at some of the information about tonight's race.
What happened to Terry Phillips?
I don't know. He ended up, where did Terry end up
31st
last night? I'm not sure what happened. He started 24th and ends up 31st. I didn't see the preliminary races last night to see what might have happened to Terry that put him so far back. He had to start so far back. It was just so hard for him to make up any ground. That's the thing. When you start way back at the tail end of the field in these feature events against the competition you're running against, it just makes it really tough to work your way up through the field.
Rodney Sanders started 9th, and he ended up running 21st.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what happened to Rodney either. But that's, usually if you see Rodney Sanders start in 9th and he ends up 21st, he had trouble. So we'll see how it all shakes out tonight. I was looking at grandstand tickets if you're wanting to go down there tonight. They got senior discount down there, $35 for adults, $30 for senior discount, 62 and over, juniors $15, kids 11 and under free. And all grandstand seating is general admission tonight. But you're going to see the best modified drivers in the world at Lucas Oil Speedway tonight in a crown jewel event. And the King of America, which we didn't have a King of America winner a year ago because it got rained out at Humboldt. So we'll see who is the King of America winner tonight. I think a couple of years ago it was Dan Ebert, but he's now running full-time late models. There was one late model event last night, Scott. It was at Maquoketa, Iowa. It was called the Nippy 50. How about that for a name? The Nippy 50. Is that because it's just a little bit on the nippy side this time of the year? That's kind of a cool name, isn't it? Bobby Pierce comes through with the feature victory at Maquoketa Speedway last night.
Beat Ricky Thornton Jr.
Yeah, how about that? Two best late model drivers in the world showed up at this event that was a Mars-sanctioned event. This is not World of Outlaw or Lucas Oil late models, but yet Bobby Pierce and Ricky Thornton Jr. and some of the other high-name drivers showed up at this event at Maquoketa, Iowa last night. Ricky Thornton Jr. came from 11th to 2nd.
Iowa? Kirk, where's that at?
Up there in kind of the east-central Iowa, eastern Iowa. I've never been to this racetrack before, but just watching it on Flow Racing last night, it was in great shape. The track was in really good shape last night. Lots of good action up there. Looked like Brian Shirley might have had a good chance of winning that race, but Bobby Pierce and Ricky Thornton Jr. and Brandon Shepard was still a bit faster than Brian Shirley. Brandon Shepard was driving his own race car, not the House Rocket #1 car, but the B5 car is what Brandon Shepard was in last night. He ends up third behind Pierce and RTJ. Brian Shirley, the Squirrel, ends up fourth. Garrett Albertson, fifth, followed by Tanner English, Ryan Gustin, Tony Jackson Jr., and Dylan Thornton. Star-studded field up there. Dan Ebert, who I was talking to you about, it used to be a full-time USMTS driver, now full-time late model driver, ends up 10th. Good run for Dan Ebert. 10th place last night at Maquoketa, Iowa. They'll be at it tonight. The big money on the line tonight at Maquoketa, and you can watch that on Flow Racing.
Let's set up Bill Baylog.
Part 2 of Bill Baylog, the North Pole Nightmare, World of Outlaws driver. We had Bill Baylog on our Mostly Motorsports show on Monday, and that conversation. Sorry about that, Kurt. And you've won a lot of races before. You up there in the IRA and, won championships and other series before. Just how different is this going national, traveling the World of Outlaws? Did anything about any of this surprise you about what you thought heading in?
Yeah, the travel and the grind, they call it, of it, I guess, is pretty much what you'd expect, or what, kind of what the fear is of the whole thing. It's but there's always people to help you and get through it all, so ultimately, you got to take responsibility for all of it. So that's what we're doing here. And yeah, it's different because we start so early, and now we're normally I would start racing, in probably another few weeks, and I've already wore out a car and a whole bunch of parts, and so it's a little different, but it's good for you for driving wise and for just racing and being prepared for these upcoming shows, but no, it's pretty crazy. I didn't expect to be able to do something like this, and now I'm kind of getting to do it. So it's what I signed up for.
You got to feel good that when you go to these big money races, the crown jewel events, so to speak. You've been to those events before, but now you're going to be going there as, World of Outlaw touring driver to Knoxville and Eldor, places like this. Do you think that's when it's really going to pay off for you to compete and do well in those events out there with the Outlaws full time?
I hope so. I mean, the chances are better for us for sure. I mean, we're definitely faster. We have a better handle on what's going on with the engines, and we have great engines, and but I don't have all brand new engines. I have some older ones, and I have one brand new one that we haven't run too much, but yeah, I think we have a better chance than we used to, because we used to go to Knoxville and just go there to drink beer, kind of knowing that you're not going to make the race,
right?
Or,
yeah.
Knowing that you don't have as good of a shot, and I for several years now I've tried to make the AMA, and I finally made it. And I think we could, some of these littler tracks, we're probably maybe even going to have a little better chance. So, I don't expect to go win one of these big ones, but I don't want to go broke doing this is kind of the main thing. And, I think we could make something happen and just make our fans and our sponsors proud, really, is one of the biggest things.
What would it mean to win the Knoxville Nationals for you?
Oh, jeez.
That'd be
I got to go a lot faster than I'm going, yeah.
Right.
No, I don't know if that's even – I kind of struggle there, and I never even really thought about it, to be honest with you.
So what made you decide to go the full-time World of Outlaw route?
I did the All-Star a couple years, and I had some I wanted to go faster, and I just couldn't. There was some, we just had a lot of bad nights, and we had a couple cars that were, they weren't the same, and it was just hard to really get any kind of consistency. So I did that, and it was fun, and I think we did all right. We won a couple races and stuff, but yeah, I think it was just kind of time to do it. We have Anderson's on board, and we got a bunch of other sponsors, and yeah, it just seemed like the thing to do. I had people ask me, what do you need, or what, why aren't you doing this or that, or so. It's just time to sign up and bite the bullet.
What happened to you at Kennendale?
Kennendale. What happened at Kennendale?
That was the track conditions were similar to what you had at Cotton Bowl, a little more so because it was really windy that Friday down there, and it dried out and rubbered, and then they really poured the water to it. It was a much different racetrack on Saturday. That's the other Texas racetrack. You had to deal with different conditions from Friday to Saturday, right?
Yeah, so it's kind of stupid, but yeah, I found some stuff, and I don't know how or what, but yeah, we had the front end massively screwed up, and I didn't know what was going on with the car, but kind of freaking out. Didn't make the show. Just couldn't drive the car at all. I couldn't drive it down the straightaway. I couldn't drive it in the corners. I just couldn't drive it at all. But yeah, it was tough. It was a tough one. And the first night we were really good. We went from 12th to 5th and had a super good car, And then the next night it was just so bad. And I think that's just kind of part of sprint car racing. The car needs to be correct every time, or really close, especially for me. I maybe lack a little bit of the driving skills that some of the other guys have, so I need it to be right. And yeah, I just I don't know. We definitely caught it, and then picked some stuff. I actually, when I came off the track for the A main on Saturday, I pulled all the bars out because I thought they all got flip-flopped or were in, I was just searching for anything because I just couldn't drive it the whole entire night. So, yeah, it was frustrating for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of these young rookies are finding out just how difficult this is, being out there doing this kind of thing. You're an older driver, a little more mature. I mean, just to handle the competitiveness of being out there on the World of Outlaws tour, that's got to be really difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And, you know, we still always raced on the weekends, every weekend. So it's kind of the same, but, and we ran into a lot of situations, but you'd be amazed, how many problems are thrown at you. You know, on a little dirt circle, you know, it's a lot. So it's, you got to kind of fix them as they come and adapt and, just doing the best we can, you know, Dennis and I, and we've got some other friends that came down and helped. So we kind of have a part-time crew and a full-time guy. So maybe next year we can hire another guy or something and, you know, maybe get on top of it a little bit more. But yeah, it's been pretty cool.
You know, I always talk about it. Good help is hard to find out on the road, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I with Dennis, like I said, he'd carry the car to the next racetrack if he had to. And, you know, I'm surprised he puts up with my crap, you know, but,
right.
Yeah, no, it is. It's hard. And sometimes it's not fun. I mean, he's literally stuck in the middle of nowhere right now in a parking lot. And he has his little fridge and he's got his food in there, so he's not going to die or anything, but it's just not a lot of fun. You know, he needs to be maybe heading to the next track and hang out with the guys, you know? So yeah, it's a tough one.
Hey, we're showing a lot of your merch page. You got good merchandise, don't you?
Oh yeah. Natalie, she is the merch lady, and she does a super good job at all that stuff.
Those socks
really
are cool.
We're gonna try to bring the trailer now in the next couple weeks or so. We're gonna try to start bringing the t-shirt trailer, and then you know, because you can make money at that. You know, this racing thing is kind of goes the other way sometimes. But
you got a lot of stuff up there.
Yeah.
You got a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we got socks, and
I dig those socks, man.
We'll probably have underwear next. You know, we got everything.
Well, the thing about it is the merchandise sales goes pretty well, but you also got to be a pretty good race car driver too in order to sell that merch.
You got
not?
You got to be a good race car driver to sell that merchandise.
But he's a personality. He's got a lot of fans out there and sells a lot of merch. You know, when you start selling underwear, that's is that carrying a little bit too far?
He said maybe we'll have the underwear. He's got socks and he's got baby clothes, so he's
got the socks.
I dig the socks. They're pretty cool, man.
I wanted to mention before we get out of here, they're going to celebrate the life of Dwayne Isaacs, who passed away in January. You remember he was a longtime Kansas City racer. They're going to have this celebration next Saturday, April 5th. From 11 to 2 at the George Mayan Building out in Bonner Springs. That's the same place where we had the Carb Hall of Fame. So that's 11 until 2, and they'll have lunch and plenty of time for storytelling. So if you want to go and participate in that, that's next Saturday, April 5th at the George Mayan Center in Bonner Springs, honoring the life of Dwayne Isaacs. So, Todd, you got to get out of here, too, so we probably want to wrap things up early
Wrap
today.
everything up. And so we're going to make your pick for your NASCAR?
For the NASCAR?
I got Blaney, and I got Larson and Blaney as my picks today, or for tomorrow, I mean.
Blaney probably should have won last week, shouldn't he?
That's why I'm thinking either.
Till he grenaded that engine?
Yeah, that thing blew up like a beast. But I don't know, Scott, who do you think might be pulling out the victory today? Let me pull up the odds for you real quick before we get out of here.
I'm going to pick Alex Bowman this time. How about that?
How about that? Kirk going out with Alex Bowman.
Hendrick Motorsports always does pretty well. The 48 with Jimmy Johnson had a lot of wins at Martinsville, and Alex ran well last week, and I'm thinking maybe tomorrow is his time. So I'm going to go with Alex Bowman as the winner.
So Blaney.
It's hard to pick against Larson.
It is. Blaney's the only one who's got better odds right now. They're up on the screen there, Scott, if you want to look.
Blaney is due for a win, right?
Yeah. So Blaney, Larson, Elliott, Hamlin, Byron, Bell are your top 5 favorites going into as by the betting odds out in DraftKings. So who do you got as your who's your backup, Kirk? you got Bowman as your main guy, but if Bowman blows up or something,
I'm going to go with C. Bell as my backup. I'm thinking after a couple of weeks were really not his fault.
Yep, that's
winning
true.
3 in a row, and he's won at Martinsville before, if you remember that, a couple of years ago. So I'm going to go with C. Bell as my backup.
So Bowman, Bell. I got Larson and Blaney. Scott Trailer. What are you thinking? Who's your pick? 2 picks.
I'm going to pick Kyle Larson and C. Bell.
There you go.
So
wouldn't that be something? Those 2 guys fight it out at Martinsville tomorrow.
Could happen. They don't like each other.
They have respect, but they're not friendly.
Down at the Tulsa shootout, they were kind of talking nice about each other.
Yeah, I think, like you said, Bell's in a good spot right now. So
Bell ended up running 29th last week.
Yeah, he had some
I'm not exactly sure what happened.
Yeah, there were some issues when one of the pits, I believe, and then got caught up back in the back with some stuff. But yeah,
Bell can win on any kind of racetrack now.
Absolutely.
Road courses, short tracks, 1.5 miles, super speedways. He can win on any kind of a racetrack.
He won at Kansas Speedway, didn't he?
No, he won the Xfinity race there several years ago. He won his first Xfinity race at Kansas Speedway.
How about that?
If you remember that. So he's pretty good everywhere. But so is Larson.
Yeah, Larson's not a bad pick.
You know, Blaney is still got a fast race car.
Yeah,
he just hadn't had finishes to show for it.
Yep, some bad luck with Blaney.
A.J. Allmendinger is doing really well. He ended up running 7th last week.
There was a couple surprises in there as well, too. I think we interviewed Justin Haley. I think Haley finally had
finished 10th.
Had a top 10, so good for Justin Haley getting in there in the top 10. He had been his best I think 18th or 17th has been his best finish up until then, so good to see him. And like you said, we had him on one of our interviews a couple months.
You can't pick against Joey Logano.
Nope, he's up on the top 2. I think he was...
He's due for a win too, isn't he not?
Yeah, I think he was 8th in the picks, so he was in the top 10 in your picks today. So, yeah, it'll be something. And I know they were practicing last night at Lakeside Speedway for they had theirs, and I'm sure there's some more practicing going on today.
Electric City Speedway.
Electric City. That's right.
That's
saw that in the
Butler, Missouri, right?
Yep.
So still some play days going on out there as we approach the start of the season. But tonight, if you're in the Kansas City area, Lucas Oil Speedway for the King of America and the World of Outlaws at 81 Speedway are your 2 best choices for tonight. I just want a reminder, next weekend, the Power I-410 Sprint Cars will be at US 36 Raceway in Osborne next Friday night and Saturday night, a week from tonight, at Lake Ozark Speedway for the Power I-410 Sprint Cars.
I think I'll go to that race.
There you go.
I saw a few other people making those plans.
Did you put any credentials for us, Kirk?
I can. We can make that happen. So I'll probably join you up at US 36 next Friday night. We'll be here next Saturday morning to talk about it. How about that?
Get some interviews up there, Kirk, and maybe play a few live interviews even.
Well, let's cut this short. We're going to let Todd. Todd's got to go.
I appreciate it.
You got things you got to do.
I got a funeral to take care of.
We'll be here Monday.
My son turns 19 tomorrow, so we have a
happy birthday to Zach.
Funeral and then a party and then another party tomorrow. So you
got a lot going on.
Busy
day
today. That's why I mowed yesterday, guys. I went ahead and knocked my mowing out, and I'm done for the weekend as far as work wise.
My grass hasn't grown enough to mow.
I saw that. It you got a lot more shade than I do because of all the big trees over here. I've got 2.5 acres, so I've not covered all my trees. But I tell you what was the most was those garlic onion shoots. That's what's mainly grown in my yard. Those nasty weeds. So that's why I was out there. They call it short mowing. You short mow in the spring, get rid of all that brown grass, and then when it first starts growing up, that green grass pops up real good. So,
Boy, it won't be long. You'll be full-fledged mowing.
That's right. So I had it going yesterday. I think I was number 2 in the neighborhood. You
got a rider.
Oh, yeah. We have a giant 62-inch Kubota. It's a monster.
I got a John Deere out there in the garage.
It'll run forever.
It's a new John Deere, too, isn't it? You just got that here last year, didn't you?
I did.
They'll run like a deer. Well, I appreciate it. Like you said, Monday, Mostly Motorsports, episode 354 will be the one we're coming to on
Might
Monday.
try to get Aaron Reitzel on the air. What do you think?
There you go. That's who you ought to talk to. He's had a couple big wins right in a row, and he's always enjoyable to talk to and gets a lot of guests. We get a lot of comments when we get him on as a
We'll
guest.
be here, whoever we have. You can tune in at 12 noon on Monday for Mostly Motorsports.
It's only an hour long.
Yeah. Usually it runs a little over an hour, but
Yeah, we've been
somewhere
doing about an hour and 20 now.
Yeah.
Is about where we've been hitting that hour and 15 by the time we wrap that last little interview up. But absolutely.
All right. For Todd Surprise, for Kirk Elliott, I'm Scott Traylor. We're going to let Todd get out of here. He needs to get out of here at 10 o'clock.
I appreciate it.
Anyway,
enjoy the rest of the weekend, everybody.
Track Talk is brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. We can't thank our guests enough, Bill Baylog and Jim Chisholm as well. Thanks so much, everybody that tunes in on the show. We can't thank you enough for doing so. For Todd, for Kirk, I'm Scott Traylor saying thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.